Former Police Service Commission Chairman Nizam Mohammed wants an apology from President George Maxwell Richards. This after he won his wrongful dismissal claim against the president's decision to revoke his appointment in April 2011. Mr. Mohammed's dismissal came after his remarks about racial imbalance in the police service at a joint select committee in 2011. Mr. Mohammed has said that there were too few East Indians in leadership positions in the police service and suggested that because of this, East Indians might not cooperate with the police or feel protected by the police. We'll bring you more on this story later on in the newscast. But for now, reactions tonight to the government's nomination of Justice Anthony Carmona to the office of President. One of the harshest critics of the People's Partnership Administration, former Prime Minister Basdeo Panday, is in favor of the government's choice. However, Mr. Panday says there is a deeper issue with the election process. A process, he says, that requires constitutional reform. Karen Koze-Phillip has more.
Mr. Panday says he doesn't think a better choice could have been made in the nomination of Justice Anthony Carmona as the next president of Trinidad and Tobago. However, Mr. Panday says in the scheme of things, the election of this country's next head of state does not matter to the ordinary person.
Justice Carmona is a fine choice, but what difference will that make to the poor people of this country? What difference will it make to the people who are suffering? What difference will it make to crime? What difference will it make to the corruption? It will make none.
Mr. Panday believes the office of the president should be held by someone who is elected by the wider public.
What is required in this country is not all this attention that is being paid to the election of a president, but constitutional reform to elect a president by the rank and file of the society. The president should be elected by the electorate and be responsible to the electorate. In the present circumstances, the president has little or no power. He is really a creature of the ruling party.
Former head of the Public Service, Reginald Dumas, says he too is satisfied with the government's nominee for the office of president. Mr. Dumas admits, however, that he knows very little about Justice Carmona, except that he has served the country in the office of the judiciary. But he's pleased that the government's nominee seems to be someone who is politically neutral.
The president should be above party politics. So it is from that point of view an excellent choice that Carmona is not seen in that light, and therefore he will bring, to my mind, the kind of neutrality and independence of thought and approach to the job that we need.
Mr. Dumas shares Mr. Panday's sentiments that constitutional reform is needed to move away from the election of a president by an electoral college where the government has an automatic majority. Karen Koze-Phillip, C News.
Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the C Sport Report. And failure is not an option. Well, that could be the theme of the pre-game speech for the West Indies tonight, well, as they face Australia in a crucial Game 3 of the 5-match one-day series. As Roskin Mark tells us, a West Indies win keeps the series alive, but Darren Sammy's men will need their A-game to overcome determined Australia, who will want to wrap up the series at the earliest opportunity.
Windy skipper Darren Sammy says his team will play each game like a final the rest of the way as they gear up for a crucial Game 3 with Australia tonight. Down 2-0, the Windies need a win to keep the series alive and avoid Australia taking an unassailable lead in the series. Sammy expressed delight with the team's catching and fielding in the last outing, but is calling on the batsmen to come to the party as well. He still believes they should have won Game 2 after the bowlers creamed off the Australian top order relatively cheaply, only for George Bailey to play a gem of an innings, helping the hosts complete a 54-run victory. The day-night encounter will be the first one-day international at the picturesque venue, and a capacity crowd of close to 13,000 is expected for the historic match as the capital city celebrates its centenary. The Windies had a taste of the conditions when they scored over 300 in a loss to the Prime Minister's 11, but will be hoping their bowlers do a better job of containment on the batsman-friendly surface. The wretched form of Messrs Gale, Sarwan and Darren Bravo must be a source of concern for the Windies, while the Aussies will be hoping Shane Watson fires on his international return as they try to introduce a spinning option to heap added misery on the Windies' batting. First ball is at 11:20 local time tonight. Ruskin Mark, C Sports.